Welcome to the Anything Goes podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Kombat AllStar. Man, Random Girl is not here today, but we do have a special guest on, Ben Cohen, cartoonist. Say hello to everybody, Ben.
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
So he's on today because we're going to be talking about Justice League versus the Avengers, and we're going to kind of break it down a little bit. We had an interesting Twitter conversation on it that got really long, so Combat Man's going to sort it out. Once and for all, we're going to find out who is the best team, Justice League or Avengers. Now, let me lay out the rules for you guys so you guys know. So each person, I'll pick a team. I'm going with the Justice League. Ben's going with the Avengers. And then we're going to pick a specific team from any comic, movie, or TV show. So it could be New 52, Justice League, or it could be like 90s Avengers. We'll both pick an era and we'll lay out who's on that team so you guys know, and we'll kind of match them up that way. Rule number 2 is... Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Rule number 2 is personality of character. I'm not sure... Well, I think it'll play a good part in both, because I think every version of the Avengers or every version of the Justice League, the characters or personalities are a little different, so they'll use their powers based on their personality, and we'll get into that more when we kind of get into the comparisons. And then what I thought would make it more interesting is so we're going to pick a different team, a specific team from a specific era, and we're going to be able to call on all the powers of that character. So if there's some new powers that Tony Stark has as Iron Man, then we'll go ahead and add that to the equation to make it as fair as a matchup as we possibly can. We don't want to nerf characters or anything. And then the last rule, we're going to go ahead and match up each character for a single fight, and then we're going to talk about the overall team victory, how that goes. So kind of levels out the playing field.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead. Sorry.
The other thing is that we have, we have to make it even in terms of the numbers.
Right.
So I don't know which team you picked, and you don't know which team I picked, but essentially, whoever has the least amount, that's the maximum.
All right. So I know with Justice League, it's always magic number 7, no matter what version it is. So.
That's true.
So
so I'm coming in with 21. That cuts me off right at the torso.
Wow. Okay.
No, it's cool. I was prepared.
All right. Cool. So we can. You want to go first since you're the guest?
Sure. So you got 7 people?
Yeah, so we'll just kind of call out our 7 people, and then from there we'll match up, do the best matchups for each character, and then we'll kind of take it from there.
All right. Then we're going with Monica Rambeau,
okay.
Captain Marvel, Photon, AllStar, Spectrum, whatever you want to call her. Jennifer Walters, the Jen, She-Hulk. Black Panther, T'Challa. Hank McCoy, the Beast. Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff. Thor, Odin's son. Where does that put me? So that's a 6. And then we're going to add in Moondragon, Heather Douglas. And that'll be my 7. And this is from Avengers 227. The title of that issue was Test 123 from 1983.
Okay. Good team. So originally I wanted to go with the New 52 Justice League, but I'm gonna have to go. I might regret this, but I'm gonna go with my favorite version of the Justice League, which was actually on the Justice League TV show.
That's a good call.
So that includes Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern,
okay.
John Stewart. Of course, the Trinity, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. The Flash, Wally West. And Hawk Girl, Shahira Hall.
Cool. She's the best.
Right, I agree. All right, so what are some good matchups, first of all? All right, so you know what? I'm going to put my Superman up against somebody. So I got my Superman. Who do you want to put up against him?
Oh, jeez. Let's go with Thor Odinson.
All right. Now, we basically, I mean, you guys, we know all the powers of Superman. We know basically all the powers of Thor. Man, you know what? I'm going to have to give it to, and I'll explain why. For this matchup in particular, I'm going to have to give it to Thor because I did a lot of research on Thor versus Superman back in the day, and Thor has some amazing powers. I can't remember what the name of his power is. Maybe you can help me out on this one, but it's one where he can get, I think, like 5 times stronger than he normally is for, I don't know, maybe like a couple of minutes, and he can just cream anybody. I cannot for the life of me remember what that power is.
Yeah, I don't know. So my only thing about that is, and now we've totally ruined this whole podcast, but there's one problem. If Superman in a battle were able to get a hold of Thor's hammer, he's one of the few people who has been also able to lift up the hammer.
Okay.
So I don't know what would happen. It could be a stalemate. You could be right. Thor could just, clean Superman's clock. Superman does have some weakness when it comes to magic.
Mm-hmm.
But if he were able to be a little crafty, he might be able to get Thor's hammer, and we could be in trouble here with the Avengers.
That is true. So
I would say it's a tie.
All right. You know what? I can't argue with that. So first match, Superman, Thor, we're going to give that a tie. And it's crazy because, Thor was one of those unknown characters back in the day, but now that he has a bunch of movies, people know all about him. So I don't think you have to explain his powers to to the masses out there.
That's true.
So who you got? Who's up on the Avengers?
All right, so let's I'm going to do, let's see, this is going to be tricky. Let's just go easy on you. The Beast. Hank McCoy.
Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to have to go Batman with Hank McCoy.
That's interesting.
Because Hank, he has super strength. He's agility. Let's see. I'm going to write this down. Batman versus Hank. So, like I said, I'm choosing Batman up against Hank. Because they're both smart guys. But Hank McCoy is scientist smart, and Batman is strategic smart. He's a tactician. I think he would be able to get Hank, even though he's super strong, and he has the agility.
Yeah. It's interesting because the one thing Hank could do is mess things up for everybody by changing the timeline. But other than that, you're probably right. Batman, in a head-to-head fight or in a strategic fight, probably has the upper hand.
All right, so we're going to give that one to Batman. All right, so the next one I got, you know what? I'm throwing out the big gun here. I'm gonna put up Green Lantern, John Stewart.
All right. That is interesting. I'm going to go with Moondragon.
Moondragon.
And I'll tell you why.
All right.
He's going to take over his mind.
Okay.
He's going to take over his mind. He is screwed.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't even know how that would work as far as willpower goes. If he has any kind of shield against that.
Yeah, I mean, she has, at one point, she was able to take over, I believe, the entire Earth population. She was also able to take over Thor's mind and make him her boyfriend. She's pretty intense. And combatively, she's she has some skills.
And I know with John Stewart, he's a Marine, so he's good with his hands too. But if you're mind control, there's not much you can do about that. Does she have to be in a certain amount of range or anything, or she can just do it when she can just?
No, she was able to. I mean, if she's able to take over the minds of an entire planet, she's got it covered. I mean, I suppose if he got away somehow preemptively, but as soon as he comes back to Earth, he's in trouble.
Wow. All right, so I guess we gotta give that one to Moondragon. So since you want to be like that and bring up some mind control people, I got Martian Manhunter for you now.
Yeah, you do. That's true. And I was going to use Monica against him, but you've got a good point, so I don't want to waste her on him. Let's see. Oh man, I'm just gonna. Sorry, Black Panther. I love you, but you're done.
I was like, do we even have to explain this? So Martian Manhunter, aside from being able to take over people's minds, erase memories, he's basically Xavier. Plus, he has super strength. He can fly and he can shapeshift. So that's a no-brainer there.
Yeah, there's no amount of tactics or Illuminati stuff can counteract the last Martian.
And you're right about that. All right, so let's see. Who else you got? Who else you got?
Let's go with. I'm gonna go with Scarlet Witch.
Oh man, I knew that was a reason I was saving Martian Manhunter. All right, Scarlet Witch. Man, you know what? I'm gonna put Scarlet Witch up against Shahira Hall.
Oh jeez.
So
honestly, okay, so I guess my one thing about Scarlet Witch is she has to be. I believe she used to have to be within eyesight to do her hex magic, but she also has the whole like chaos magic thing going for her, which is pretty insane. So I don't know how you counteract just utter chaos, essentially.
Well, and you know what? I pick Hawk Girl because she has the magic mace, which disrupts magic. So she took out Solomon Grundy, who's basically animated by magic. She's taken out. I mean, she's caused trouble for Dr. Fate. So anybody that's magic or magic oriented will get hurt by Hawk Girl. They have to basically know how to fight. But that being said,
what she does, but
go ahead.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch does, but it's not. I don't think it's Hawk Girl level.
Okay.
In my reading of it, I think it's whoever got the drop first. But let's give it to Hawk Girl because she would probably get the drop first.
All right.
She has to be proactive.
Yeah. All right. So Hawk Girl got that one. I was afraid of that. I was afraid of your Scarlet Witch matchup with anybody I brought, but I'm glad I picked the version of Justice League I got. So I only have two left. We got the Flash and Wonder Woman. Let's go with the Flash first.
Okay. Jeez. So where am I at? So you got the Flash?
Yep.
All right. I'm going Monica against the Flash.
Now Monica, I don't know anything about, so you have to educate me on her.
All right. She was essentially the second Captain Marvel.
Okay.
And she has control. She has control over. Well, she can turn her body and emit any energy. So she can become invisible. She can use cosmic rays. She can use X-rays, visible light, infrared, radiation, you name it. So Flash's energy stuff that he does, he can't counteract her. She has a way of counteracting all of that. And, yeah, he can run around, but if she's translucent like Martian Manhunter or Kitty Pryde, what's he going to do?
Yeah, I mean, he can create big hurricanes and, tornadoes. So he can throw lightning. I'm not even going to bring up the whole travel back in time because I think that's kind of cheap.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, if we had him against the Beast, the two of them could have just messed up the entire story.
Yeah.
So, that's fine. I don't know. I think it's a draw.
Yeah, I think it's kind of too close to call because Flash, I mean, he can do so much. Even his power that he used in the New 52, I think it was like issue 3 or 4, when he learned how to use the Speed Force. to think fast. So like everything's still down around him, and he was able to look at every possibility and choose the best one. Even that was really powerful, but he decided not to use that a lot because there was consequences. So I mean, yeah, I think you're right. I think we'll have to tie that one up. And
yeah, I mean, I also think that if like Black Panther or Wonder Woman were being the tacticians and telling one of those two to do certain things, there would be some advantage. But head to head, I don't know what they're going to do against each other other than not much, trying to do a lot.
Okay. All right, so we'll tie that one up, and then the last person I got, of course, is Wonder Woman
versus the Jen.
Now,
honestly, I don't know, because I don't know who's stronger. To be frank, I mean, the Jen right now, she is as strong as the Hulk, and she's a lawyer. So I don't know.
The Jen. So, oh man, that's going to be a tough one. I know Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman's goddess of war, so then you got that going for you.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to stick with the personalities, because I don't feel like the Justice League and Justice League Wonder Woman would use all of her powers. The one that's in the comics now, in like DC Rebirth and New 52, she's more of a warrior.
Yeah.
But in the Justice League TV show, she's less of a warrior and more of a... She's more noble, I'll say that. She doesn't rush into fight. She's not going out trying to hurt people. So I'm not sure if the Jen is more vicious than this version of Wonder Woman.
Actually, you know what would happen? These two would basically go and have some coffee and be like, this is a ridiculous fight. And then just call the whole thing off.
Yeah. Now, see, you're probably right.
That would be what would happen.
So, okay, I guess we'll
work with their idiots.
All right, so I mean, I guess we'll have to tie that one up too. I do feel like that if we're talking New 52 or DC Rebirth Wonder Woman, there's been times where she's just lost it. So she would probably, go after the Jen.
And Jen's, like right now, Jen's really angry. So I can see that happening for her as well. But generally speaking, how we think of both of those characters, they usually take the high road.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let me...
Where's it leave us?
Let's go ahead and tally it up. Let's see.
All right.
So I got my Avenger tally and I got my JL tally. So let's see here. Okay, so I'm just working backwards. Wonder Woman versus the Jen was a tie. So no one wins that one. The Flash versus Monica, another tie. Scarlet Witch versus Hawk Girl. That one with the Hawk Girl, so that's one for Justice League. Martian Manhunter versus Black Panther. Another one for Justice League. Superman and Thor was a tie. Batman and Hank, that one went to Batman. And then Green Lantern versus Moondragon, that one went to the Avengers. So we're at a 3-1 tie with the Justice League leading by 2.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised entirely. When it's head-to-head, I, going into this, was expecting the JLA to, knock it out of the park, because that's the thing about DC. DC creates characters, and they have stories where they're like the ultimate.
Yeah.
And the way you counteract those heroes is usually through some clever manipulation that involves risk assessment by the hero. In other words, is there a bystander that's in trouble? Meanwhile, on the Marvel side, I feel like group tactics are better slightly, because they are all vulnerable people in some fashion. There's some aspect of their story that they're making up for. And so as a team, they tend to work harder together, but head-to-head, they're not the ultimate, and there's a reason Superman's in DC.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
And you know it's funny too, because a lot of the DC heroes, either they have no powers or they have all the powers in the world. And I feel like a lot of their villains are thinking villains. I mean, you have Grodd, thinking villain, Vandal Savage, also someone who's very intelligent, Lex Luthor, the Joker. It goes on and on. Like, these super powerful people are facing people that can outthink them, outsmart them, trap them. So it kind of balances out a little.
Yeah.
So, So head-to-head, Justice League takes it, but what about team? That was the other aspect of it. Who do you think works better? Well, I guess, you're for the Avengers, I'm for Justice League. So I guess we can explain why each of our teams, our respective teams, work better as a team, and we can kind of pair them up to see who would win if they were actually in a fight. I know that was a big thing. There was a guy, I can't even remember his name. I muted him on Twitter. He was totally going back and forth with me, and it made zero sense. So I hope that he's listening to this podcast when I put it up, so we can finally get this out and away. With that being said, I guess you can start first. You're the guest, right? So let me know, what do you think? Why do you think the Avengers work better as a team? And if it was team versus team, why do you think the Avengers would actually win out against Justice League?
It's a tricky thing because it depends. I could write it either way. As a storyteller, you can write it however you want. It's sort of a gut feeling about having read both. I haven't read every Avengers. In fact, I'm more of an X-Men guy, which is why I'm like, team thing. X-Men are that's one of their big deals. And certainly, I'm more of a Marvel than a DC guy. Otherwise, I probably would have been biased the other way. But we all grew up, with either the Super Friends or the Justice League Ultimate or whatever. And I read some comics, so I've studied them for a while. I would say that what happens is Marvel characters in general, like I was implying earlier, they have problems. And those problems force them to work together and to be better tacticians, in my mind. That being said, I've always said that Superman's real power is his ability to problem solve in an ethical way, which is a problem here because we're having good guy versus good guy. So I don't actually know what he would do. He would probably, like I was implying with Wonder Woman and Jen, I think that ultimately the whole thing would break down and they just all hug it out at the end. But as far as a tactical sense, I just feel like Marvel, those characters tend to, especially the Avengers or the X-Men, tend to work well together. X-Men have fastball special. Avengers tend to do a lot of teamwork, and their stories always fall apart when somebody doesn't participate in the team aspect, and they always work out when they do participate in a good culture. Avengers, there's some of that, but that's not usually the focus. Usually, like, there's one or two or a handful of villains, and then they just match up head to head.
Right. And
they don't really cross over too much. I may be wrong there, but that's my reading of it.
Okay. So on my end, from my perspective, from what I've been able to read and everything, and I'll give examples too, I feel like with Justice League, they work so well as individuals that eventually the fight always comes down to individuals, and they always come through. There's always an X factor. So if you look at season 1 of Justice League, at the end, the X factor was Martian Manhunter. He finally got over his fears, and he's one of the more emotional characters, I think, in comics. And he finally got over his emotions. He got together and he was able to save his team. And then if you look at season 2, at the end of season 2, it was Brainiac fused with Lex Luthor, and the X Factor then was the Flash. So they were all getting beaten, and then one person from the team steps up and saves the rest of the team. And with the Avengers, I've seen it plenty of times. Whenever they're going against other good guys, they kind of fall apart. They break up. They don't do so well. Civil War is a perfect example. Another example would be X-Men versus the Avengers, where they fell apart. You had a Captain.
Well,
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a reason I don't have either Tony Stark or Hank McCoy on my team. All right. Yeah. and I feel like I could have had Cap on in there without much problem, but he tends to be egotistical as well. Those guys tend to get in the way. Like, they have a philosophy. If the team isn't following their philosophy, they get all freaked out.
You're 100% right on that too. So,
and T'Challa, he's like, look, this is how it needs to go. whatever needs to happen to make this work, that's where I'm going. He's always been like that. He's got to run a country. He doesn't have time to fool around with personality and philosophy.
Right.
He's just like, we got to protect the people, and that's it.
Well, I mean, that's funny because every time the team broke down for the Avengers, it was always Captain America leading the team, especially in X-Men versus Avengers, and then with the Civil War. So, I mean, with those guys out of it, I mean, you got I think it's a stronger team. I mean, you got that X factor with Justice League because it worked better. There's always somebody stepping up in a fight, but you know that's kind of, I think that's kind of statistically lower than if they're going up against another team that can actually function well as a team. So, I mean, from my point of view, I got to give it to the Avengers. If you don't have Tony Stark in it, you don't have Captain America in it, and if you have like a leader like T'Challa, I gotta give it to the Avengers for that.
It's it, and that's what I was saying going in. If you have the right team and it's the Avengers, they can work it out.
Right.
But I think you could also do that with the Justice League. You just didn't happen to do that in this case. You went with your A game, and your A game is good one-on-one. But I think you keep Batman, and then you get rid of a few people and add in some others, some B-list people, and all of a sudden it's a different story. Right,
and that's what I feel like too. I feel like if maybe Captain America was in your version of the Avengers, then it would break down to a one-on-one fight like it always does with the Justice League, and then Justice League would take it. But since Cap isn't a factor in this, I believe that the Avengers would continue to work as a team to the bitter end, and the Justice League would have a hard time finding that X factor, that person that's going to step up and save the day, if they're fighting just a well-functioning wave of enemies like that.
Yeah, and the other thing about that is that the people on this Avengers they put together, for the most part, Thor aside, have struggled in life in one way or another. They've persevered, and that brings a wisdom to the battle that, frankly, Superman doesn't have. He doesn't have that experience.
That's right.
And I think that if you're working together with other people that have had similar experiences, you can work it out.
Yeah, very true. Well, there you have it. We got Justice League one-on-one. If it breaks down to a one-on-one fight, the Justice League wins. If you pick this version of the Avengers and they're a well-functioning team, got to give it to the Avengers. So one-on-one, Justice League wins. If it's a full-out fledged team effort, the Avengers are going to take it. So again, what do you guys think? Everybody who is listening, what are your opinions on this? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? I think this was a pretty well thought out battle and matchup here. I like how it went. We weren't at each other's throats or arguing or anything like that. But yeah, it was. I 100% agree with this. I can't deny it. So what's more important is, what do you guys think out there who are listening to the podcast? Do you agree with me more? Do you agree with Ben more? Do you agree with us both? Let us know in the description below. And as always, like, subscribe, share. And until next time, any last words, Ben?
See you around.
So long.
Have a good one.